So most of us had something that we loved doing as children, whether it was playing a sport, playing with toys, playing video games like me, or just, a general hobby. But the thing that I did above all else was watch hockey. From as long as I can remember, which was like when I was 4 or 5 years old, I've watched hockey. This was largely due to the fact that my grandfather, when he moved here from India in the early 90s, watched hockey. It was all he did. It was the most entertaining thing he could find on television. When I was old enough to understand what the sport was and how it worked, I too fell in love with hockey. So both of my grandfather and I both had this love for hockey, and it really grew us close together, even though I was his 9th grandchild. Once he noticed that I shared his love for hockey, he began this little habit of calling me after every single time that our favorite team, the San Jose Sharks, lost a game, which happened to be quite often. He would call me every time and ask the same question: what happened? This question, it wasn't really worded like that because he didn't speak any English, and I barely spoke his language, but it worked out somehow. But he would ask me what happened, and we'd have a short 5-10 minute conversation on what went wrong and why we thought the Sharks lost. My grandfather, throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school, never once failed to call me after a loss. But as I grew older, school got harder, maybe more busy, and in general, I just became like a busy person. Eventually in high school, I joined the marching band, which meant there went my evenings for the week, especially on Saturdays. So I began to take his calls less and less, even though he would call me after every single loss if he watched the game of this. As I took his calls less and less, I justified myself with reasons, like, oh, I had too much homework, or I had practice. But in some cases, it would just be, oh, I was too busy with my friends, or I just didn't feel like it at the time. This would never bother my grandfather, because he would wait for those times where I would pick up, and we'd have a conversation about what we both loved. It was October 11th, 2014. It was our first band competition of junior year, and the Sharks were also playing the Winnipeg Jets that day. Now, I was at practice, so I couldn't watch the game, but being the addict that I was, I managed to get the radio on my phone, and I listened to the game every single break we got. The Sharks ended up losing, but I didn't get a call from my grandpa, but I didn't really pay attention to it that much, because it was like an afternoon game. And usually, he would only call me for those 7:30 start times, because he didn't know much about schedules. So it didn't really faze me, and I went about the rest of my day. That night, when I got home, around 10 or 11, my mom proceeded to tell me, oh, your grandfather had to go to the hospital today because of health issues. Again, I don't know why, but I didn't really think too much of it. It didn't really bother me that much because I had seen him perfectly healthy earlier that week, even though he was 102 years old at the time.
Whoa.
Yeah. The next day, we find out that among some medical complications, he also has lung cancer, and the doctors gave him 2 weeks to live. Our entire family was devastated. Literally everyone in our family, there was 5 children and his 9 grandchildren, none of them had grown up without him being there. 2 weeks went by. He was fine. Bedridden, but he could still talk and he could still eat by himself. A month went by. Still fine. 2 months went by. 3 months went by. He started getting better. He was able to walk a little bit on his own, and he could move around, prepare himself, and he didn't need anyone to look after him. But at this time, I was in smack middle of junior year, which was by far the busiest time of my life. It was just crazy. So I was still not answering every phone call, because again, he was healthier, so he was calling me again and again after those Sharks games. And sadly, we still lost a lot. But I was answering less and less, even though I knew in the back of my mind that any time his health could start deteriorating again. It was December 11th, 2015, senior year. His health was deteriorating once more, but at this point, it was senior year, I was enjoying myself, but at the same time, college apps were happening. So I would always justify myself with the fact that, oh, I can't always talk to him that much, I have to do college apps. But on the other times, I would go to my lunch with But I would go to lunch with my friends almost every single day, finding new locations, such as like, pretty amazing Mexican restaurants in San Jose. I would always justify myself again and again, even though I knew for a fact his health was declining. It was December 11th, 2015, when it was the day of my last Christmas concert as high schooler. I got out of class a little early. I was headed to lunch with my friends, like usual. I managed to catch the Sharks game on the radio on the way to lunch. The final score, the Minnesota Wild 2, the Sharks 0. We lost again, and I was used to it. As expected, I got a phone call from my grandfather. But since I was already at lunch, I figured I'll just call him later, after the concert. So I put my phone away and enjoyed my time. About 2 or 3 hours later, I got a call from my mom. She told me to come from my grandfather's really quickly. Not thinking too much of it because I was so excited for the concert, I drove over. But as soon as I walked in the door and I saw my mom's face, I knew what had happened. Immediately, I did a 180, walked out the house, got in my car, went for a 7-hour drive. Again, throughout that entire drive, I asked myself one question. Why didn't I pick up the phone call? For the whole next week, which of course just had to be finals week, I asked myself the same question. Why didn't I pick up the phone call? After the funeral, for the next 6 months of my life, I asked myself that same exact question. It wasn't until I had a conversation with my mother sometime in June this past year, where she told me of how my grandfather, her dad, used to call her every Saturday morning to ask her how her week went, always around 6 or 7 in the morning. A lot of the time, she wouldn't want to answer because it was early and she was tired because, working mother, having me as a child. Not the greatest. Yeah. But she told me she would always answer regardless of how she was feeling because she knew that he appreciated the fact that she would answer, and she knew that she should appreciate the fact that he wanted to call her above his 4 other children. That's when I realized what my problem was. Not once had I stopped to appreciate what my grandfather had done for me by calling me every chance he got over his 8 other grandchildren. I had always taken him for granted. So from then on, I began to set little goals for myself to be more appreciative in life. I began to tell my mom, "Oh, Mom, I love you. Have a good day at work." Anything like that. Little acts of kindness to people just to know that I appreciated them and everything they've done for me. Because in the wise words of former President John F. Kennedy, as we express our gratitude, we must not forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them.